Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I am your host. Joining me, as always, is my go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever.
My
Joe,
name's Big Diesel, and I like playing Call of Duty.
His name is Big Diesel, and he loves playing Call of Duty. I don't know what happened to Joe, but it's Big Diesel now. Big Diesel, how you doing?
It's my call sign.
It's your
call sign.
It's your call
Big
sign.
Diesel don't take no crap.
I think we can just hedge our bets early and just say the hashtag this week will be hashtag Big Diesel. So remember that to tweet at us.
Tootin', I mean, you're darn tootin'.
Yes, that too. So if you just tweet us right now, just pause it, just hashtag Big Diesel, and don't even tell us anything else. That's all we need. Anyway, thank you, Big Diesel, for being on the show, and thank you to all of our lovely Legionnaires who are listening, because if you're listening right now, guess what? You've joined the Legion. Don't worry about it. We're kind and friendly folk. We love talking about everything in entertainment. We're talking movies. We're talking games. We're talking TV. We're talking theme parks. We're talking music. We're talking about things we love. Oh my gosh. So many things to love. And this week, exactly. This week I want to start off with a trailer that just came out. It's one of the newest, hottest, freshest one. I'm so sorry it's not Star Wars, because guess what? We're all going to see it anyway, so everybody be cool. I want to talk about Bloodshot.
Don't tell me to be cool.
I know Joe's the biggest Star Wars fan on the planet. He loves I want to start calling them cosmic conflicts. Like if I make a fake Star Wars, that's what I would call it. Unless that probably already exists. But all I'm saying is I want to talk about this one because that was interesting, because it comes from, I don't know if it's Variant Comics or something like that, but is based on another superhero line that isn't Marvel or DC, and I thought that was fascinating. And of course, our boy Vinny D is in there playing this character. Joe, thoughts on Bloodshot from this trailer? How do you feel about it?
This isn't Fast and Furious.
Correct.
Right off the bat, all I can think is this is a good slot for Vin Diesel. This is a good character for him to play. I'm excited about it. It really looks cool. Like, puts you on the edge of your seat, rips you off, and throws you back on again. Maybe you're surprised by my reaction, but as I was watching that trailer, I'm like, this actually seems pretty awesome. I think it has a little bit of that. What was that movie called with Tom Cruise, Edge of Tomorrow?
Dude, you're so right.
Over and over.
Oh, Joe, I love it even more now. Okay, thank you.
It feels a little bit like that, only it's much cooler because of his gifts that he's been given during his reincarnation after death, right? That shouldn't spoil it for anybody. They talk about what they...
No, it's in the trailer. Go watch the trailer.
Watch the trailer. But it has that vibe to it, but I think it's more appealing because it's not like he's going to fight like these alien... it's not as... what's the word? Like, it's more fleshed out. Like, you understand what he's going after, what the people are doing with him as a weapon, etc. He's not just... There's no missing background, I don't think. I think the gaps are filled better in the storyline and the overall plot. Whereas Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, right?
Yes, very good.
Yeah, it was... to me, it was a little shady and not as appealing, and it truly does take on that repetitive feeling where I think this is going to be a little more amped up and fast-paced and a little more variable.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he starts figuring out that they're using him and resetting him every time they get an objective completed with him by twisting his memories around, which I think is going to pose for a really cool plot and conflict within the story. So and I'm probably using these words all wrong. I'm just mile a minute, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The CGI, I think, is going to be, it's going to be used quite heavily, but for good reason. And from what the trailer shows, it looks awesome.
Yeah. Like
the whole blood injected nanos and all this, where he's kind of invulnerable, stronger, and heals like easy peasy. Almost Wolverine style, only faster, and like he feels no pain dang near. Like, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
There's a one point in the trailer where he gets shot in the face and it just rips his cheek off and he turns back at him and starts shooting.
Yeah.
That's right up my alley. I was like, that's grotesque, awesome, and badass all in one. Vin Diesel finally in a role where I think I can appreciate him as an actor and enjoy what he brings to the table, because he is kind of that macho bro migo type of guy. And I want to like him, but sometimes his character just seems so cheesy, especially in something like Fast and Furious and Triple X, where like they take that macho broness and really make it, they capitalize on the cheesiness of it. Whereas here, it's more serious tone. It's a more serious tone, and it's fitting, and you can actually like respect it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The voice. I mean, you know, it's Vin Diesel when you hear his voice. That's what is gonna get me, like his not mannerisms, but just his tone and everything. I think it's gonna be really fitting for this character.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
I think he's got the right style, the right look, the right chops.
Yeah.
Right chops for it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And I also like, I mean, clearly this thing's got to be rated R, am I right?
Yeah, I think it has to be.
I mean, you can't show somebody's cheek get, well, I guess you could.
Maybe.
I mean, it's not really fleshed out to a point where you're puking, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But, you know, I think it looks badass. It's a different take on a superhero film that's a little less, you know, I'm not saying Marvel's PG, because Marvel's serious enough in its own right, just a little different style. I think this one's going to be a little more like Spawn-esque, or, you know, I like that R-rated feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not an R-rated joke, and it won't be some dramatic cry fest like Wolverine was.
Yeah, or Logan. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I echo pretty much all of your sentiments, I think, for the most part. For me, what was so interesting, now that you bring up Edge of Tomorrow, I love that comparison, because it is very much like they keep resetting him. And I like the idea that, you know, at first I was like, well, how are they going to get around this? Because basically they like wake him up and they're like, this is the guy who killed your wife. And he's like, I'm going to get this guy. But then he keeps waking up. He's like, I'm going to get the guy who killed my wife. I'm like, well, if he gets him that first time, then what's going to happen in the future? And it's like, no, they just implant a new person there. So it's basically, you can you can make him have any target on the planet. You could make him have anybody on the planet. And he's like, I'm going to get that person. And I love that idea, because like, he has a moment in the trailer too. He's like, you're not going to be able to control me forever. And I want to call him Aldrich Killian. Is it Guy Pearce? I think is the name of the bad guy.
Oh, it's the guy that played the bad guy in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, and he's there, and he's like, well, how do you know that I won't be able to control you forever? So that's the trick with these types of movies, is like, what is he going to do to himself, or to remind himself that, like, he's being controlled? But I love the idea of the manipulation, and they kept playing the song over and over, and I love that even in the trailer, like, he's like, I feel like I've heard this song before. Like, I like that they started joking about it. I was like, that's cool. And he's like, he's fighting a dude who's got these kind of like mech arm things, who might be a good guy or might be a bad guy. And I was like, that looks okay. And they got to jump out a building, which is fine. But I like the idea of Bloodshot. I remember hearing about this a while ago and kind of looking into him, and I was like, okay, cool. So you got kind of a Captain America with nanites and in kind of Wolverine style, super strong. I was like, oh, that's a compelling character, and I'm interested to see. I want to see this one. I do. I really do. And I'm not sure if the wife. I wonder if the wife's actually dead. That's another question, because I'm sure in the comics they're like, yeah, she's dead for sure. But in these types of things, it's one of those like the 11th hour. The bad guy pulls up like, here's your wife, like she's alive, and he's like, but how am I supposed to save my family? Like, you know, like that's what it's gonna happen. He's like, I got family. But yeah, I just want to see more. I'd love to see more superhero films that don't feel like they need to be, you know, how MCU does it, or how DC's kind of doing it and their own thing. And I would just like someone else to take a crack at a shared universe and do it better than DC at this point. So for this, I'm like, go Bloodshot, do it. And I love that he's not on any, like, because you'd think, because he's Groot, and there are rumors circulating right now that they might try to reboot Inhumans, and he would play Black Bolt, the superhero, like lives on the moon with all these other people, and he can't speak because when he does, it's like a crazy sonic wave. That it's cool that he could still go do these other things. You know, he could still go play a titled character superhero in this, but he can still be Groot. Yeah. Like, that's cool too. So I like that.
Because it's just the voice.
Yeah. Well, and he's not, like you said, it's not Fast and Furious. So that's nice to see him in something else other than that, where he doesn't have to be like that
Which
guy.
I can totally disconnect him as an actor from the Fast and Furious series. Like I can make that disconnect in my mind. Um, the one thing I worry about is if he starts playing other hero-y types. Like it's almost to that point. Like he played that Witcher Hunter type guy.
Oh, the last Witch Hunter. Yeah, because he loves D&D, which is super funny. He adores D&D so much that's why he made that movie. It's based like on a character he made.
Oh, remind me of that, and after we're done with this topic. Anywho,
Roger that.
He's been in some movies that have been somewhat lackluster, and if you see a character too much and he plays the same kind of demeanor over and over, it's harder to make that disconnect. And it's not necessarily his fault. It's just, you see that repetition of him playing something similar or similar roles, and it kind of starts to wear on new roles that he gets, even if it's better. I think, luckily I haven't, seen a lot of those or really given them too much consideration, so it shouldn't be an issue for me here. But just something I wanted to shoehorn in there. Like that can sometimes be an issue.
Sure.
With a startup like this. I mean, this is a from scratch, based on comics, but new stuff. So for the big screen. So sometimes it can be a gamble to pick an actor like that. That's kind of, what's the word?
Well-known, prolific.
Yeah, for similar type roles.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, like typecasting.
Yeah, so it's a little dangerous, but I think this role is too much up his alley to not go well. As long as the trailer already speaks volumes for, I really expect some good things out of this. I'm going to try and keep my expectations low, but it really does look enticing.
Yeah. Hypometer check.
Hypometer. Before I get to that, here's another thing that hit me as I was watching the trailer. I immediately started thinking about Chronicles of Riddick.
Sure, yeah.
Possibly some of the best stuff that Vin Diesel's ever done.
I've never seen all of them. Yeah.
I haven't seen them all, I don't think, or maybe I have, but and I don't remember them in detail. I'm not like a huge fan of them, but I thought they were good movies, and him as that character in that role, perfection. But ultimately, this trailer has the good vibes. It's a compelling character, and just a great idea. I think it'll be really, really interesting and a different offshoot of the whole superhero-esque genre. So I'm excited for it. I'm going to give it a strong 9.5. I'm seeing this sucker.
Whoa, I love that. That's amazing. 9.5, that's hot.
For superheroes and stuff, like this is up my alley. It's kind of a fresher take on that genre, and I'm all in.
Ooh, that might be we'll both have to see it then, and we'll both have to talk about. That'll be really fun. That'll be cool.
We'll this one together, Jimmy.
I would love to.
When's the release date?
I don't remember. I'm so bad at release dates because it usually pops up and then it's just like, I think spring, but I don't quote me. I am interested in this for sure. Like I said, I'm interested in the character, and I think Vin Diesel will do just a fine job with it. I want to see, I want to see more, and that'll make me go see the movie. I don't need to see another trailer. For me, it's not like an 8 out of 10 or like an 80. Like I'm like, this is good. This is nice. I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to go too like crazy with it, but I am looking forward to seeing something a little different than we've seen from him in a little while, and I'm hopeful that this kind of starts to branch off and they start to hopefully not sequel bait it too much, but at the same time, I would really just love to see somebody else take an attempt at a shared universe, but maybe take their time with it and not straight up dark universe it like Mummy did, and just like maybe this would be that, and they'd be like, hey, one successful movie, and then like just make 2 more like standalones of all the superheroes and then bring them together, kind of like mini Avengers style. Like that's what I would love to see. And I think
studio is responsible for this one.
Another, I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't pay
It's
attention.
not Warner Bros. Or
Yeah.
Universal.
I'm not sure. It very well could be, because at this state in the game, or stage in the game, let me just look her up real quick here for you, Mr. Lever. Let's see. Bloodshot movie. It is Columbia Pictures. Sony
Pictures.
Sony? Yeah. Sony, and it says 2020, February 21st, 2020. Ah.
Not too far out.
Yeah, that means there's a really, because February has become like the month to release some of these like superhero films, which is, yeah, that's not, or February 21st, either way. Let me just get a rating quick just for people. I think it is, it's, the trailer suggests the film could be R-rated, so we're not sure yet. I don't think so. We're all just gonna have to sit back and hope to figure out together. Yeah, but anyway, there you go. A little Bloodshot. I'm interested to know what people think about Bloodshot. Please go check out the trailer if you haven't already, or let us know in the comments and just say like, hey, this looks cool, or maybe you're like, I have no interest in this at all. I don't care about Bloodshot, which is totally fine, because honestly, I've never really read any comics about it. I just think it'd be kind of cool to kind of switch up a little bit. Let's move on, Mr. Lever, because otherwise we're going to talk about...
I wanted to talk about before we get too carried away.
You're right. I wanted you to talk about the D&D Last Witch Hunter thing.
I've never played D&D. Seems compelling. I won't lie. There's some interesting aspects to it. I like the creativity, the art, the just general aura of it all. I got exposed to it through your favorite Deathstroke, Mr. Joe Manganiello.
Oh.
I've never played D&D. I don't know that I ever will, but it is interesting to me, and more so because I really enjoy like the art concepts and things like that.
Yeah.
I kind of, some of it kind of gothic and whatnot, and fantastical, obviously coincides with it, but Joe Manganiello has his own brand for it and everything called Death Saves, that he fostered and created. It's kind of cool. Like, they have their own website and stuff with apparel and game stuff and supplies and whatnot, and just you name it, he's got it. But so Joe Manganiello has his own D&D sanctum. And he gets together with people and has D&D nights or weekends even. And there was an Instagram post last weekend, I believe, or the weekend before, of him and a bunch of buddies playing. And I think I even sent that post to you or shared it with you on Instagram. I said, look at the people in this room. And you would never guess who was in there. I mean, he had freaking... he had the Big Show in there.
Sick.
From WWE. And then who else did he have? He had Vince Vaughn was in there.
That'd be so much fun.
And to my surprise, the two, I forget if they're the two main writers or producers, the showrunners for Game of Thrones, the two forefront guys that are always in the episode commentaries. And I saw that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, the people in that room were some of the tops of the tops, and I was like, wow, like, that's quite the crew to have in one spot at one time playing D&D. Mm-hmm. I was like, I thought it was really cool. But yeah, not that I'm trying to promote anything, but it is, that whole Death Save stuff is really cool. Like, some of his apparel and stuff takes some of the artwork from the world and he applies it. And there's some really cool things. Like, I think last year around this time he was running some like Halloween deal, and he had like a werewolf type t-shirt, and it was like there's some D&D artist, and he was taking that and putting it on some shirts and stuff, like a limited run. And I was so tempted to buy it because it just looks sick.
Sure.
It was really cool. But yeah, my little D&D rant for a quick moment. So maybe one day we'll see Vin Diesel playing with him.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I cut to myself at one moment during your rant, as it were, or maybe we just say what it is. It's just an expulsion of passion. That sounds weird, but anyway, all I can say is some things you never think you're gonna hear your friend say, and then he starts talking about D&D, and you lose your freaking mind, because that's just what I did. Joe, I didn't know, man. The D&D's great, dude. I used to play it back in the day, and I think you get a heck of a feeling from it, man. Like, if you got to draw out your character, get to all that draw, just like making stuff, oh man, and you get to fully embrace a role. Oh man, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
They take it to such a high level. Like, they literally have this giant table. They all, I don't know what it all involves, but they have like iPads on and stuff. They all have like notes and stuff.
Yep, you need that.
They have like this whole table set up with like this miniature like lair set up, you know, like they did this undersea themed one, and they had like aquarium decor and stuff set up, and it was really kind of cool.
It's really cool. Yeah, you can go all out
and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you know, the cool thing about it is it, you know, it requires imagination, which I like something like that, you know.
Yeah, you would really like it, I think. I would love to play D&D with you someday, Joe. I would love to fight alongside you. We'd have a heck of a time. Oh my gosh. So that'll be a new Patreon tier if you guys want to see us do that. People be like, no. Yeah, no, D&D is really cool. And I think a lot of people listening to this would probably agree with us. They'd be like, it's very cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to say about D&D before we move on?
Moving on.
Okay, I just want to make sure I don't want to get in the way of it. I'm going to change this timestamp now, which is totally good. Boom, look at that. I can do it with magic. So I want to get into this a little bit today. Joe hasn't played as much as I have, and I don't want to call this a full review, maybe like a review in progress. I do want to talk a little bit about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Now, for people who have been following me and following like my Twitter and stuff, they'll know that here in the States, if you should have access to this, but I actually host a little TV show called Game Sharks, and I talked about it on there as well. So if you've seen that, you're probably going to hear a little bit of repeat, but for the people who haven't, I wanted to kind of discuss my thoughts on it, and I wanted Joe to kind of be here too, because he's played a bit of it himself. And again, have not completed the game. You know, it's one of those things, playing a little bit of here and there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say the word disappointed.
Oh, what?
But so I've been playing it, and I can't recommend this game if you're not playing with somebody else. It is just so like blah. And I think it's because I can abuse the AI so badly. I've been able as an individual to take an entire compound with them alerted by just hanging out in a room. They come in one right after another, and you just shoot them as they come in the door. And reload. It's not even a thing. And it's fine because you do feel powerful in that sense, but it's just like even the armored guys, you just shoot their helmet off and shoot them in the head and they're dead. And that's good. That's realistic to some degree. But I don't know. It's just like, and the world is just too big. It's too big, and I really want to make a video about this or talk about open worlds that have just nothing in them, but they're like, but our map is double the size of the last one. It's like, I don't care if there's nothing in it. And a lot of it's just like, oh, but there is stuff. There's like two guys hanging out by a motorcycle out in the middle of nowhere for no reason, because the game was like, you got to have something to do out here. So it's like, they basically want you to like kill two guys and then drive the motorcycle off. But then you realize that for some odd reason, somehow, they've like double or triple the team since the last game, and the driving that they should have copy and pasted from the last game, I don't know why they couldn't do it or whatever else. It's atrocious. It is some of the worst driving I've ever had in a game. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jimmy, how could they screw up driving? Well, you're driving along, see, in a straight line, and there's a bridge. Bridge has a little lip. You hit the lip, and you're like, oh, in most games, the suspension of the car would just account for that, and you just keep going straight. No, this one, it'll like skyrocket you, or you'll just start slamming into the sides of the railings, and you spin around, or you'll go off a cliff. Like, you'll be driving a straight line, and like it'll just
glitchy.
It pulls off to the side. It is so bad. And I know what you're thinking also. Why is it such a big deal? Well, helicopters are kind of few and far between. And if you lose your helicopter, you have to go to a place and try to find another helicopter. And not every base has a helicopter. So you're going to be driving sometimes.
Go to a camp and spawn
yeah,
one.
And you can...
difficult as well, and you got to get to the camp or the bivouac.
Exactly. And you can fast travel from bivouac to bivouac, I've found, which is nice. That's fine. But this map is so big, and oftentimes they make you have these objectives that are just so quick that it's like you talk to one person, but you traveled for like a half an hour just to get to that person, just to talk to him once, and they're like, all right, now head back home. And it's just like, that's it? Like, there's just such a lack of compelling mission design in this game, especially after they gave you, like, all these kind of, like, they're like, oh, now you've got a breach kit to get through fences. Well, that's cool, and I understand that, like, the frustration in the last game is they had these, like, reinforced fences that you had to run so far and around to get around. But now the breach kit doesn't make any sense because most of the things that you'd breach to get into, if you go maybe 20 feet in either direction, you'll find an open door or just like a cutout of the fence that's just like, well, this place is the most secure facility. We've got all these guards, but we left every door open. And it's like, you're not even making it hard for me to like get into these places. And if you take the high ground, you can abuse and just take out everybody. But then, if that wasn't bad enough with the dumb AI, you got these drones who are exactly what I feared. They're bullet sponges. They just sit there and take damage, and you just shoot them again and again. And once in a while, you find an outpost, and it's like, oh, this outpost, it's like it's gear level 140, and I'm nowhere near it, but if it's regular soldiers, I should be able to take them out. Well, there won't be any humans there. It'll be like a super tank thing that you shoot all day, and if you don't have the right gun for it, you do no damage to it. You do nothing to it. And it's just like, why? I climbed this mountain to get to this place, and it's just, I can't do anything. I can't.
But the fact that they allow you to have the ability to access a mission for a level 150 and you're only level 20 or 30, like,
yes,
why is that a thing? Like, I think their structure for the missions and objectives is ridiculous. It should have been more along the lines of the first game, which I think they did it right. Yeah, I actually think that all those missions were like well thought out, worth your time, engaging, fun, and a little different each one. So that I liked about the first one, and they didn't carry it over at all. I feel like the mission objective thing is very wonky and just kind of jarring.
Yeah, well, guess what? It goes on. So, okay, I'm still getting frustrated about this, Joe, and I want to share my frustrations with you. I've heard, and I've actually seen now through a review, I do follow Angry Joe. I know some people probably like him or don't like him, but he does a really good job of really being fair and honest about a game. One of his cohorts was able to find John Bernthal, Walker's character, and we have that mission, Joe. The one we were trying to do, that's the mission to kill that guy. But he found a way to cheese him and basically defeat him as like a level 10 guy himself. And they defeated the final boss. And he said the only cool thing about it is after you kill him in all the cutscenes, it's like his right-hand man instead of him. And I was like, okay, that's a cool conceit. But like, it would have been like if they told you, here's El Sueño, which I thought was also weird that you couldn't do that, but like in the first Wildlands where they had no levels or whatever, but like they would have been like, here's El Sueño, you want to go? El Sueño's right up there, you want to go kill him? He's right up there, go kill him. Like, the fact that you can go and get this guy that early, it seems like they didn't structure it properly. And it's so confusing because you see all these things, it's like you're not the right gear level. So you have a gear level and you have a regular level, which is not uncommon in these shooters, but it's so weird in Ghost Recon to have to deal with that. And then on top of that, you have the skill tree, which I thought at first would be cool, but no, it doesn't matter. You just pick one of 4 classes, but everybody shares the same skill tree. So it's like you go up into like the stealth area, but then the next node to it's like assault, and you're like, wait a second, I thought I was gonna like kind of make my guy into a stealth character. It's like, no, you don't need to do that. So it's like, why would you make that and not make like 4 dedicated skill trees to like having different, like, it just... It's so frustrating because it's like, it feels like it's so close. I feel like it's not half-baked. I feel like this game was like 3/4 done, and they're like, we need to have a game come out because we don't have Assassin's Creed this year, so you better get Ghost Recon out there. And they're like, screw it if the driving's bad, if maybe the mission structure isn't super good, if you don't care about the story, if you have to talk to all these idiots, and there's all these mission objectives on the map, and it's just like, and then, oh man, and then they have all these crazy microtransactions. It's just like, it like really bums me out because I was so looking forward to this game, and I was so excited about the quick combat kills and all that stuff, but that takes for freaking ever too, and it's the same ones all the time. It's like my guy's headbutting everybody, and then he gets like headbutt, and he always slices them, then he goes for the throat and whatever. I'm like, that's not what this is supposed to be. Like, I thought this game was going to be about like survival and all this stuff, and like using the freaking the environment to your advantage. No, you just abuse it, because you shoot a few guys and you go lay out in the mud, and you cover yourself in mud, and they can't find you. And if one of them finds you, you kill them, and you just rinse and repeat. And these guys can't stop you. And it's just like, it's so frustrating. And then they just constantly have these drones flying over helicopters. So even when you're trying to do a mission, it's like, oh, you're about to be spotted. And you're like, what? Why? It's just so much. Like, they don't ramp it up. And if I have to go the raid at the end of this game requires you to be gear level 150 and like have all these sweet guns and whatever. And that's about fighting a bunch of drones, I think. You have to go to a drone factory on a volcano. Why would I want to go and fight? And there might be people there, but if it's mostly drones, I don't want to fight the drones. The hardest thing about drones is they fly around and they move like this when you've agitated them, and so they're hard to shoot. That's not a compelling enemy type. It's not. Like, it's not. And the humans should be smarter, because they're just running out there. We're going to get this guy. Are you? Because I don't think you are. Like, you're just going to run out and die. Or you're going to see a guy's dead there, and you're going to be like, huh. And then you're going to take cover where he just took cover, and then I'm going to shoot you. It's just, it's got to be more than this. How can it be?
Ultimately, I think they could have recycled the previous game, and it would have been better.
Yeah, because at this point, I feel like somehow they like stepped back. Like, they thought like Ghost Recon Wildlands is like, all right, what if we took Ghost Recon and we did open world? That's all you needed for the hook there. This one was like, what if you take Ghost Recon and you do open world? And they're like, yeah, we've done that. And they're like, but it's not in Bolivia, so we can't get sued. And you're like, what? Because like some of the stuff, like the environments look good, like and there's something to it that it could be good, but it feels like there's something wrong. Like, there's no radio in this game. There's no AI companions to like chat with. It's just like so dead when you're trying to traverse, because at least in the last game you had the radio, or the guys would talk to each other. Even though I will admit the dialogue was horrible in that game, it is honestly better than it's better than just silence. Everything's just silent, and it's just like,
it almost feels like they rushed it a little bit. Like, they could have brought it up to that quality, but they went, well, we got to get it out here in October.
Yeah, well, like I said, in the promotional material, they're like, we've like double or triple our team or whatever it was. They're talking about how many more people were working on this game. But
nobody was on the driving mechanics at all.
I just don't, that alone baffles me. I don't understand it. And it frustrates me so much, because I don't know if they just couldn't copy and paste that, but the fact that they force you to drive and use motorcycles, all this stuff all the time, it makes it so frustrating. The gunplay,
like, I challenge you to pin it on a motorcycle and try and drive that straight down a road.
Yeah, I will say, like, the guns and stuff like that all feels good. It feels the way it should. It feels
and
nice.
Look awesome.
Yeah,
and
but
customization, it's all there.
It's not enough. Like, it feels like it just is almost boring, I guess, which is sad, because like I think about it, I'm like, okay, I've got this cool guy, I'm like taking all these dudes out, but then it's for what? Like, I'm getting a new gun part, or I'm talking to some person that just is like, mission completed, and I'm like, great, and it's like, you got a new skill point to use for like whatever. And then, this also drives me nuts too, and I get why they did this, but when you're marking stuff with your drone, everything is marked in white. Now, enemies will change from little white reticle or white little symbol things to yellow when they're searching and red when they're engaged. However, that doesn't help me a lot when I'm in the base and I just see all this whites, like on the, not even on the map, but just in my like view. It's just all these white symbols, and I can't differentiate where the bad guys are, because it'll just be like a little white arrow facing down that's just kind of moving, and I'm like, is that like a... they all look the same, and I can't change the colors, I don't think. And I looked at like the colorblind mode, and that didn't help either. At least in the last game, you mark them and be like, that's an orange target. And honestly, I don't need to know the difference between if they don't know I'm there and if they do know I'm there, because it's very evident if they know that you're there. Like, it's not like they need to change the color because they're searching for you. It's like, yeah, no, I know. It hurts, man, because I was really excited about the sequel, and I just feel like they checked off all the boxes on the wish list for me, but only in like half measures. Like,
exactly.
And that's what frustrates me so much. And I really hate going back to the base. I hate it. I hate going all the way back there and like seeing all these other players who are just standing around, and like Joe, your character was just standing there like at a thing, and it was like not available. I'm like, oh, Joe's here. No, he's not. But and like it gets really glitchy in there, and you have to talk to people, and it's just the dialogue. I'm just like,
so slow,
oh
and
my
you gotta
god,
make your way all the way from the base out to up the ramp.
yeah,
and out the cave,
it gives me that kind of Anthem vibe where you're like back at the base, and you're like, oh god, like let me just get out of here. Like I don't want to do this. So if you like Ghost Recon, don't get it without a buddy, because it just isn't worth it unless you have a buddy.
Like when we play together, we have fun. It still has a lot of the same feels as Ghost Recon. The driving mechanics is probably that's probably the worst aspect of it, or jarring thing about it. But and also the mission structure. Like in the last one, you knew what you were getting to, the way the tree was set up. You go to this one, oh, we haven't done this one in this province, let's knock these guys out. It was really well organized. This one is not. Like I go in the objectives menu and I go to missions, and it's like I can either go to the right, which there are a couple boring ones, but they're missions. But I can go to the left, and like the first one on the left is like take out the main guy, and it's like, well, why is that even available right now? Like I wasn't even allowed to go after El Sueño in the beginning part of Ghost Recon, and it's like, where's your structure and organization? Like it just seems so wonky.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the drone's stupid. They tried to really implement that too much, but with those things out of mind, it is a lot of the same from the Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's just a little wonkier in some aspects, but some things are improved, granted. I still love the cosmetics and everything, but that only counts as like a 16th of the game overall. So
okay, let's talk about the cosmetics for a second. One of the things they're like with your first purchase on the freaking the microtransaction cosmetics is you get an eye patch. Like you get an eye patch. Why does that have to be like we're giving this to you? It's like, but you can't. I just hate when they start throwing all those cosmetic options at you right away, and they're like, you could buy it, you could buy this, and you're like, but like I just bought the game. Like I get that's how they make some money, but like show me goodwill. Like when I booted up Monster Hunter World the first time, it wasn't like, oh, if you like your armor to look better, that'll be $20, and it's like. No, the game was like, here's all this stuff because you bought the game. Like, they're not trying to nickel and dime you for stuff that you should probably get.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's part of the fun. Like, if this game was like, hey, if this is a sweet eye patch and the only way to get it is you complete this mission in this way. Perfect. I understand that. That's how stuff used to be back in Ghost Recon. Now it's just like, the thing that made Ghost Recon so good in the first place was that it was structured. You had missions, and you had things, and you had objectives, and now it's like it's almost too free-formed, and that I can abuse that system because these guys aren't smart enough, that it doesn't really matter how I approach anything because it's always going to be the same way. And that's just so frustrating.
It was a little bit like that in the first one. I mean, it's not like anybody was smart. Yeah, I mean, you could get in trouble if you're being overran. I feel like you get the same thing in this one, but... in the past one, it wasn't as dumb where they just kept... I mean, they did flood in doors and such, but I just feel like you could attack bases in a much more strategic way and have more fun doing it. I think there's something a little wonky about this one, but it's not totally different, and it's not like I'm totally disappointed in it. I'm not mad I bought the game.
Sure. I just want to play it with you some more because honestly playing it alone has really bummed me out. And like the exhaustion mechanic when you're sliding down a hill and then you run out of your stamina and then you start falling.
The stamina thing is dumb.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they bothered with that.
Because they another half measure because they do that and they do the whole like my ankle is injured because like I thought that was going to be a big part of it. This game for me, every time I've taken an actual injury like that first third of the health bar that goes away, it's always my ankle. So I'm guessing it's just like the first one is movement, the second one might be like how you aim, and the third one is you die. But I'm always bandaging up my freaking ankles, and like we were joking about this on stream the other day because they're like, I can just imagine the bad guys like, I got his ankle, like target eliminated, moving on. They'd be like, no, you didn't kill him, like he's bandaging it up right now, and like that's kind of a half measure. The stamina bar that turns into like you taking damage and you roll down a hill because you run out of stamina, it's like a half measure, and then you just drink some water and it's fine. It's like, don't put these like survival aspects in the game unless like it's really going to have a major impact on it. Because I feel like it never really does, like, the way they want it to. I thought this game was going to be us, like, on the run. But I already feel like in the first hour of the game, you're like, no, we have a base. We have a bunch of, like, freedom fighters. We're pretty good. Like, it's not like every time you get settled, they're, like, the wolves are on you. Because, like, that's not the case. And it's just a shame, man.
Yeah.
I'm bummed out. Yeah. I'm just bummed. Ugh. And no grapple hook. Come on, guys. Like, you know what? If you're going to make it so easy to infiltrate a base, let me just crawl up the side of a building while I'm at it. Give me some suction cups. Like, you know, because like these guys aren't going to stop me. They're not going to stop me. Yeah, I don't know. I was just expecting so much more. And I guess I'm glad they didn't call it Wildlands 2. Because right now it doesn't feel like a true successor, which is weird because Wildlands had such less going on for it. And when I think back to it, it doesn't have as many mechanics. But it just... I don't know. That one just seemed to fit really well. I don't know what it is. I don't know, man.
I'll be honest. I really feel like I'm trying to figure out how to sum this up. I think one of the major... I can live with it. I'm not upset about it. I don't have that many gripes. One of my main complaints is the missions.
Yeah. They're all
honestly,
the same.
I don't mind side missions and all. I'll do one if I'm in the area or I have one available that's close by. I'll do one. Yeah, same as Wildlands. Some of those side missions weren't much to scoff at, and they were kind of a waste of time sometimes. But here, it's like some of the main missions, it's like find where the dog tags originated, and they give you clues, and you got to kind of detective it a little bit. But it's stupid. Like, okay, you take out 2 guys, and you found a bunker, and you got to take pictures of shit. It's like, okay, I'm bored now. Thank you.
Yeah. It's just nothing. It's just, and it's frustrating because it's just like, I know they had time and they had resources, and I'm not really sure why. Because like and their big thing was like they're listening to the community. They've got a diehard community, and I don't know how like those diehards feel, especially after playing, who loved Ghost Recon Wildlands. Like we did, we really did. I look at that. I almost like I'm 93% complete with that whole game, which is nuts.
95%.
Well, good for you. But and again, it was weird. Like you said, we should have been able to just go shoot El Sueño, because like if this was really. But they wanted you to take apart the cartel. Like, that was the story. Yeah. It was like, you're taking apart.
And it was fun doing it. All the missions to get there and the people, actually fun.
You hated them. Like, you found out stuff about them. You're like, these are bad people. That's what this game should do. And I don't know if it gets to that point where it's like, all right, he's working at this drone manufacturing facility, and this is the guy who's helping him, and you got to kill that guy because he's making drones, and if you kill him, the final boss battle, he won't have all the drones with him, or something like that. I don't know, and it's just like the world doesn't feel like super compelling. It's not, I don't know, there's a lot of civilians, which is fine. It's just, I don't know, man, it bums me out. I was just so excited, and like I wanted to feel a fire with it, and I really don't. Like, it's fine, it's mindless, and it shouldn't be mindless. It should be like, I gotta think about this, because these guys, if they find me, they're gonna shoot me, they're gonna kill me, but like, I never feel worried. I'm never worried about stuff. I took a hostage the other night just to see something, and I was going to walk off a cliff with him. But instead of falling off the cliff, we just walked straight down the cliff and then just kept walking on the ground after it. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
like,
there's some wonky stuff. Granted, it's a giant open world, no loading screens, but...
Yeah, but some of that stuff just... And get your driving figured out, guys. This is darn ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't have any patience for that kind of thing anymore.
You had
in
it right the first go around. What the hell?
I just don't get it. And it's like, they're probably like, just get a helicopter. Well, I'm not at a point in the game where I can just spawn one anytime I want.
I remember in Wildlands, they actually patched the helicopter controls a couple times, and I have a feeling we're going to see that for driving in this one.
Let me just say this. So far, I haven't played anything more compelling than the Splinter Cell mission in Ghost Recon Wildlands. And that one was freaking tough, and it required, like, a lot of, like, I'm going to fly you up in a helicopter, you jump off and find Sam, and, like, talk to him and try to defend him, and I'll try to show up and shoot people with the helicopter. Like, that was, like, you needed to be smart, because this was super hard. Like, nothing like that yet. I'm just like, you have so much possibilities with, like, sneaking into a facility. And I mean, like, using, like, a sewer system or like ventilation shafts or anything, but it's just like, no, just walk through the door that's open in the fence line. Like, good God, like it's
And the
like,
other one, you really had to plan how you were going to approach something and how you were getting in. With this one, it's like, yeah, there's probably something over here.
Sure. Well, in the last one, they kind of, and I get the gripe was like they had those reinforced fences. So like, remember when you try to get into like a airfield, Joe, and you have to like run like a mile almost around something because like I can't get through a fence. So I get that they tried to like combat that, but then make the breach kit so important because like you don't need the breach kit. It's just like come on, just make a world that's like 1/2 the size, but make it so much more complex. Be like, yeah, actually there's a sewer system, and if you want, like, some of your team or all of your team can infiltrate the base in the center of the base by like going it through that way. Like, just give me more options. Make there be cargo transports that are coming in and out that you can like hijack one of those cargo transports and you can go in dressed up like those guys and you'd be like, yep, and in the back is your 3 buddies. Like stuff like that where it's like intelligence about how to take this as opposed to I'm just gonna shoot everybody, and then if there's too many of them I'm gonna run away, lay in the mud, and then shoot them again. It's like
you have this giant robust team that you implemented for this one, yet it seems like nobody had any ideas to put on the table and no one had the power to say yes to them if they even existed.
Yeah, and I think it might just be a case of getting rushed out, which if that's the case, I totally understand, and maybe the team did the best they could with what they have. It's just frustrating because, like, Ghost Recon Wildlands, I feel like, just took us in a way, and we're like, oh, man, this is really fun. This is really cool. We don't expect more than what it is, and this next one is like, it's going to be all that, but more, and it's like, yeah, but is it? It feels like it's a step to the side, like, kind of. It doesn't feel like a really strong step forward, and that's what frustrates me. It's just like, missed opportunity. And then there's all this product placement, like Oakley is all over this game, and it's just like,
which is fine. I don't mind that.
It just feels like so sponsored. It feels like I'm playing like a NASCAR car that's got all these stickers. It's like Oakley and all these other things.
In all honesty, I feel like that's going to be a more common theme in a lot of video games, not just this kind, etc. I think it's going to
maybe, but then again, there's
become more common because video games is becoming such a big platform, especially with competitive stuff, etc.
Sure.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Call of Duty starts having sponsorship deals with companies in there.
Yeah, I think there's like, thankfully, there's those fictional single player games that will never like if God of War ever is like, I would defeat Odin after this Powerade, you know, like I mean, like you know, like don't do that. That'd be pretty rough, and it's fine. I just think I would feel better about it if I actually cared, because it's like you get a pair of Oakley gloves and you're like, okay, Oakley gloves, and then they're like 7 increments better than your other gloves, I guess. And it's just like, I've been playing this for so long, and I feel like they did this with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's like they stretch it out so you have to either play for so long to beat it or to get to a level to take out the final boss, or if you want, you can purchase something to make it go faster, which seems really friggin' stupid. So, Ubisoft, please. I like your games. I really do. But stop doing this whole padded out by being like, well, this is usually a 40-hour experience, but we're going to make it a 71 because we're going to make it so hard for you to level up. It's just going to be like, oh my gosh, I'd rather just pay to be done with it. Stop doing that. You don't need to do that. It's okay. All right? Don't worry. I was still playing Ghost Recon Wildlands before this one came out because I just like that game. Just make a good game. Yeah. That's what Monster Hunter did, and they still got my money. I'd be willing to freaking give them like $300 at this point because that's how much content they've given me. All right, they gave us just so much stuff. Be better, guys. Dang it. I'm sorry, Joe. Is there anything else you want to say about this? I'm getting flustered.
No, I kind of feel the same way you do. Maybe not quite as passionate about it. I'm not upset about it.
Play a little more and you will.
Yeah, it could have been better. I just, you know, if I'm playing with you and we're having fun and we're actually doing missions and feeling like we're getting something done and they're engaging, then I'm fine. But if it's like, find this ID in the ruins here and you got to kill 2 people to get in, like, whoop-de-frickin' do. I feel so accomplished. I had so much fun getting here.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
That's the kind of shit I don't like, so...
I just miss the days when Sync Snipe was a thing.
Yeah,
it used to be a thing, and it used to matter. And
I mean,
it
it's
just
here,
hurts.
but whatever. Yeah,
and that's maybe I'm more kind of frustrated about it because I've been playing it a lot by myself, and like I want to play with you, but like when we get time, to play it, and this is what happens like on a Saturday. I'll play it for like an hour, and then I think like I got my fill. I just really want to play something else, anything else right now. So we usually go play Monster Hunter because there's like the loop on that one's so much better. The loop here is just so weak. It's so weak. And the guns you get aren't like necessarily way better than the ones that you have, so you're just kind of like, I'm just gonna stick with these. Like they're still killing people.
You know, most of the guns and everything, they're based in reality, so I can appreciate that. I mean, all that stuff, the tech and whatnot, is cool, but yeah, it's not like it's not like you're grinding because, oh god, I need this rifle.
Well, and they don't.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, but
it's like a half-hearted
like the most
Division.
compelling part.
Like the Division does a better job with that because they have all real guns. But when you drop a gun in that game and you're like, oh cool, I can tell that this is like this is a nicer rifle and it comes with these perks because it's like a legendary or purple or whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But this game is just like, oh, it's a blue SMG or a green or whatever. Maybe we haven't gotten to the better like sweet weapons, but it's just it's hard to say like. It's not a fantasy game because it's based in reality, but they also have to do something if it's going to be like a looter shooter to be like, why is this P90 better than that P90? You know, like they have to do something to make it better. So like, I think if you're going to play one of these types of games, just go play Division 2 because the mission structure in that game is just, it's really well done. So much better than this. Just find some sort of hybrid between Ghost Recon and Division, guys, and you're going to have a killer game on. Just call it Ghost Division or something. Like, just freaking meld them.
Try to implement some of those properties in here,
but it's half-hearted.
I know, but you know, you get some of those little cosmetic or gameplay type features from the Division, but you know, the Division to me isn't the greatest game, so it's not like you should look at that and be like, we gotta be more like Division.
Well, if you played more of it,
Wildlands was good.
If you played more of it, Joe, you would like Division 2, I think. It got really fun. It was very fun.
I liked it, don't get me wrong. Maybe I'll go back eventually. Maybe if I get sick of Breakpoint, that's what I gotta fall back on, but
it feels good. That game feels good.
Yeah.
When you get a headshot, you're like, oh yeah, that feels good. Because in this game, you get headshots all the time. Headshots all day.
Well, all right, we bashed on it enough.
I didn't bash it. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, it could be better. It's not. Maybe it's slightly exaggerated. Like, I'd say it's worth playing. Like, if you've done everything there is to do in Wildlands and you don't really want to play anymore, and you got some buddies that want to play this game, I think you could have some fun. If you do it right and you're objective oriented and you mouth through those, you'll have fun. I don't think it has legs, but if you liked it, you'll like this one enough.
Wait for it to go on sale for like $30 and pick it up with some friends. Then you're gonna have the best time with it.
Then it's probably even more worthwhile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait for this Christmas or Black Friday. This game will be $30 and you will be so much happier with it. Trust me. Not that the game doesn't deserve the full price. It's just it hurts because I feel like it could have been so much more. That's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem.
True.
Anyway, Joe, let's move into that segment of the show. Do you know what segment of the show we're talking about?
We're talking about time killers.
That's right. It's time for time killers, baby. It's the games we've been playing, the movies we've been watching, the TV shows we've been viewing. I was talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So that means I'm just going to keep talking here for a second, Joe, because I feel like I'm on a roll. I feel like I'm more passionate than I have been, so just bear with me. I wanted to talk briefly about what was I watching? There's something I watched and I'm like, we need to talk about this. I restarted this little beauty over here, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's still really great. I started watching Lucifer upon my sister's request. That I think it's a CW show that went to Netflix.
No, I think Fox.
Was it Fox and then it went to Netflix?
Yeah.
Is that how it went? It's very CW though. It's police procedural, which is kind of boring to me, but the main character, it's like Blacklist, where you kind of like, if you love the main character, you're gonna watch an infinite amount of episodes because you're like, oh, what's he gonna do? You know, so that's kind of the hook. But basically, Lucifer leaves hell, moves to Los Angeles for a couple of years, has a nightclub, but then meets this police officer that he can't manipulate like he does other humans, because basically he can walk up to any human, he can be like, what do you desire? And the person will say what they desire, and it can be kind of damning, or it can be a lot of good information. But so he's drawn to this woman because she is not bedazzled by him at all, and so they start working together. She's a cop and he's like a consultant, so he just likes to, he's trying to kind of do good because in this version, and maybe this is an interesting take, but it's Lucifer being cast out of heaven. He was an angel, and he got forced to reign over hell, but he didn't want to do that. Like he hates that. Yeah. So like he has a lot of like dad issues and stuff like that. So, and anytime anybody says like anything like good God, and he'll be like, well, he's definitely not good, like it's a lot of like what I hate that guy, kind of. So it's interesting to kind of get that perspective. I was like, oh, it's kind of fun. I can see why people like it. There's one other thing. We talked about The Boys. Dang, I can't remember it. That's okay. I don't know. Oh, yes, I do want to talk about this. I don't always recommend different vlogs and stuff, but I found, my family and I found a vlogger that we really like down at Disney. Check out allears.net. Her name is Molly on YouTube. Really addicting. She's super funny, really highly edited vlogs, which I appreciate, and I know that daily vloggers such as Tim Tracker can't really do like super edited vlogs because that would take way longer, but she puts in jokes and stuff all the time, and that kind of stuff I really appreciate. So if you're looking for Disney vlogs, check her out. She's really funny, and her videos are super long, which for some odd reason I really enjoy. Like I get excited when I see like it's like 50 minutes. So I'm like, this will last me for a bit, like on my phone. Like I can like check it out for a few minutes, stop it, then come back to it later.
Yeah.
Like, I like having that kind of like, I don't know. I like having more content. That's just me. So yeah. Anyway,
for sure.
Joe, what are you killing time with?
Put me on the spot. I should have been thinking of it the whole time. I really don't have anything.
Oh, okay.
In all honesty, I don't really have anything.
Not new.
Believe it or not, I will next week. I downloaded a game over the weekend because you were kind of MIA Saturday, and I had the day off, and I had cleaned the house, did some errands, and I went fishing. And I came back, and I was like, man, didn't catch any fish. It wasn't a nice fall day, but it was that kind of dreary, cold, rainy, and wet. But I kind of enjoy those days. I was like, man, what can I play by myself? Something to give me the fishing vibe, but not all the work and the frustration with not getting anything. I downloaded what's it called? I don't even know the name. It's a fishing simulator, not sim.
Yes.
That's not the name. It's something like that, but it's one of the most well done ones that's gotten some oomph behind it.
Okay.
And in fact, it's associated with some pro fishermen, etc., on the tour. And Scott Martin, who's one of the most renowned pro fishermen, stands behind it, and he's kind of the face of the game a little bit. And they do a whole rank system, career mode, and all that. And you fish tournaments, and they actually have real lakes in here, like the actual topography and everything and features of it. And you garner sponsors as you rank up, and you use different techniques, and you can upgrade your boat and stuff like that. They have like every North American species in there, and I think there's even a sub version where you can do a European tournament style, which fishing over there is much different than here. But I purely bought it for the bass tourney stuff. I'm probably gonna get into it this coming weekend. If I have some time, and see what it's all about, just for fun, something a little different off the beaten path, and try it out. It's very realistic. I don't think it's going to be like the Wii fishing game. It's not like every cast is a fish.
Sure.
I think what'll make it really cool is if you actually have to try and like utilize features in the game, like if they have like sonar and graphs and stuff, and actually like kind of target where the fish would be. It's not like, okay, I'm just gonna, as long as it's not like, oh, I pick any structure and cast to it, and there's a fish probably nearby. I think it's gonna be a little more technical than that, and I like that.
Yeah.
It features like real life manufacturers and sponsors and stuff, which I think is really cool. And it features a lot of real pro names and stuff like that. I think, for anybody that's in the fishing, I think it's pretty cool. I'll lay some more info on you after I play it, but kind of excited about it. So cool. Not a time killer yet, but worth a mention, and we'll talk about it next time.
Good. Well, I was going to say, if you were going to say the Hunt Showdown, I was going to be pissed. I was going to be like, Joe, we got to play it together.
No, not without you.
Yeah,
we could. But from what I see, that's a very competitive game, and if you haven't been in it for a while, you might be having some issues, but it seems kind of crazy.
Are you trying to say I'm rusty?
Not even that. I think you're at a disadvantage if you're going in and people, if it's not like ranked matchmaking, gotcha. You might be in trouble, because from what I saw some of these guys playing, it's pretty technical. And
I've got the bloodlust. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, no, you're probably
cool
right,
though.
yeah.
Like the monsters and stuff you're going after to collect the treasure and get out. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I still want to try that game a lot.
The environments are cool too.
Yes, they are. All right. Well, speaking of things that are also really neat, so is the segment, because it's my favorite one. It's community feedback
and questions.
That's right. Community feedback and questions. What is the time on this? I don't even know, baby. Okay. Oh, we're like right at an hour. Look at us, Joe. We're so good. We're so good. Timeliness. I wanted to read off something here. We did get a question over on our Discord, but I wanted to start with this because I want to show that like we are watching Twitter. But Ryan, he wrote back to us on Twitter for last week's hashtag, which was CRDream. So thank you, Ryan. He said, "Good show, guys. My collector's edition would be all 3 Back to the Future movies with all 3 different DeLoreans from the movies." Because we're talking about if we could have a dream collector's edition. I think that is a pretty crazy one, and I like that he's like the 3 different DeLoreans. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if we throw the time traveling train in there too. Time traveling train. I can't believe I nailed that alliteration. That's okay, Joe. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Some people love them, some people don't. It's fine. Question comes in here from Missile Mage, and he said it was long-winded, so don't worry, everybody just settle in. Now, Joe, he said he was laughing about last week's, but this one should be a little more straightforward. Okay. He says this: "I recently started playing old-school RuneScape, and it got me thinking about convenience versus interaction in video games. RuneScape has this thing called the Grand Exchange, which is essentially one huge cross-server market board. It's great for convenience, but makes the player completely miss out on player trading interaction. This is something that also happens in Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not saying convenience is a bad thing. Video games have grown up and realized we all lead busy lives, and that convenience lets us enjoy all the other parts of a game. My question is, what do you prefer in a video game? Do you like the convenience, or would you prefer having to do a lot more yourself?" He says, "I realize this question is more applicable to MMOs, but it can be applicable to single-player games as well. Hashtag Critical Podcast." That is a good question, Missile Mage. Joe, do you have any initial thoughts, or do you want me to start in on this?
Start in on it so I got some sort of baseline or foundation.
So convenience versus doing it myself. And I think it kind of ties into what I was just saying here with, for example, for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, kind of talking about it would be convenient if I could summon a helicopter at any time to just traverse the map, because I feel like it's
in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and they made it plausible. Like you teamed up with the rebels, and they would help you with those things.
Exactly, and I think that maybe you can get that later on in this game. I'm sure that you can. I'm sure you can spawn them at bivouacs and stuff, but it'd be nice. So I think you made a really good point talking about convenience. I think finding I think it depends a lot on the game. The balance, though, and I think in a single player game, interaction is all about playing into the immersion factor of it. Because let's say you're playing God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Miss Mage, I know you love that one, and they made it really convenient for you to cross the whole map, without even having to walk through it. They're like, you can it'll be faster from point A to point B. You get a gliding machine. That would take away from it, because you're in the world, you want to put your face into that world, and I think the interaction between that and the other NPCs is big. I think in multiplayer it gets weird because I never really feel immersed, and I never have in an MMO, because you'll just see a dude, an actual person controlling a character who's just dancing. They're just dancing all the time. That's all they do, and you're like, well, I don't really feel like this is a world that's drawn, built on folklore and all this stuff. It's not that. It's not as immersive. So I think in MMOs the convenience of it helps, because those games are just a time sink in general. So I don't know. There are some things, though. On the other hand, I look at Monster Hunter, and I find it really annoying that I have to walk over to the botanical garden guy, talk to him, then go to the botanical garden, then collect all that stuff, and then refertilize and make more stuff. I want there to be streamlined ways of interaction, if that makes sense. I would like it to be like quicker versions of things that didn't take as much time. If that's for me. So trying to find the balance between the two.
I don't need the dialogue and subtitles every freaking time. Like,
exactly.
I've seen it a million times.
Like, let me have the option to like ask them more questions. If I want to, but don't force me to do that. Like, for instance, in Ghost Recon, like when you talk to the shop lady, the first thing isn't shop. You have to just go down to the next one, which is shop, because if you just hit A again, it's like discuss. And you're just like, well, now we're talking? Like, you're like, no. And if you're going to force people to have interactions like that, make it meaningful. Make it like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah. So, for example...
Not just say you did it.
Yeah, like when you eat food in Monster Hunter... You can skip it with the press of a start button. I didn't realize that for the first 100 or 200 hours. But it made context. Like, there's the context of, like, these palicos are making you this dish, and it's a fun little, like, just a few second clip every time, and then your person just stuffs their face. And that gives you benefits. That is, like, an interaction. Like, I like that, as opposed to just being like, oh, I picked up this meat, and I just ate it, and it didn't even show up, but you just got plus to, defense and health. So... yeah, I think finding the balance between the two, which is a really, really boring answer. Yeah. Joe, what do you think?
I echo every sentiment, and if I was going to come up with a relatable example, I think everyone you brought up was it. There's not much more I can say.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't like interactions for the sake of interacting if it's not meaningful, and certain things like, like the botanical research in Monster Hunter is a big example. Like, I get so sick of having to fast click through that thing, and half the time I'm so annoyed by it, I click it so many times I accidentally go in too far and I hit something wrong. I've done that many a times, or I'll go into the wrong menu subset because I was speed clicking A, right?
Yeah.
Those are little nitpicks or gripes. Like, I'm being impatient is basically what it is. But yeah, I don't like being forced into things or cutscenes that mean nothing. And, yeah, I can appreciate them once, but if they force it more than once, then it's like, okay, that's enough. Yeah, convenience factor. Breakpoint's another good example. The whole going back to the base. Like, I don't mind having a base, but to really, accentuate that hub and that you have to go there every damn time for every little thing, and they make the travel so freaking difficult. It's like, no, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, let me play the game. Like, I didn't buy this game just so I could fly from place to place for an hour.
Yeah.
So, nitpicky gripes, but I don't have insanely good examples beyond that.
That's fine. I thought of something.
My wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to force your players to interact with each other like that, then, like, give them some incentive to do so. Like, I don't know if it's going to be, like, XP thing, or there's an item you can only get if you interact with a certain number of different players. Like, in an MMO, it'd be like, trade with 20 different players, and you can get this cool belt or sash or something that shows that you're, like, a friendly person. And then people might be like, hey, that person is obviously someone who wants to talk to a lot of people. Maybe they'd be looking to join a guild or join us for a raid or something. And, like, stuff like that promotes the community vibe. If you're going to force people to do that sort of thing. And like, if they can bypass it completely, make them want to interact with people. Mm-hmm. Make there be a reason to do so, because that's what all these games are. They're loops. They're all loops. You just got to find out something that like is good enough. You know what I mean? Like something that really draws you in. So, great question, though, Missile Mage. As always, I love these questions. He always does a good job. But if you guys ever have a question for us, you can just send it to us on our Discord or over on Twitter with the hashtag #CriticalPodcast. And you can tweet at our official account, which is at GoCritical. Or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. Please send me a GIF. I love a funny GIF. Give me a funny GIF. Joe, where can they find you?
Find me at Lever_627. That's Lever just like Beaver, only with an L. And if you want to hit up Levi, you can reach him at Levi Fletcher.
That's nice that you still do that. Levi says that he's coming back in November, and I'm supposed to hype it up Hype it up. Let's. It'll be grab like Time Killers. He'll be like World of Warcraft, and I'll be like, anything else? He'll be like, no. You know what? But play what you want to play. Seriously though, like play what you want to play. It is frustrating because it's like
you enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah. And I mean, like Joe was really into Call of Duty for a while, and we didn't like always play all the time. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, you know that's okay. Play what you like. That's all good.
FYI, Modern Warfare comes out this coming weekend. Am I buying it? Probably. Will I play a shit ton of it? Probably not, Jimmy. So I'll still devote some time to buddying up with you.
Well, thank you. Our friendship still is intact.
When the Battle Royale comes out after Jan 1, I might disappear a little bit. I'll still be around, but I definitely got to check that out. You know how it goes. But
I'm sure Activision will send us a review copy. I'm sure for Call of Duty, they'll just send it.
I mean, they should.
They will. They're like, oh wait, Class Chopper is one of the people that you have reviewing. He's put more time into this game than any of our developers. We must send him a copy. No, just kidding. I kid. If you want to support us, consider checking out our Patreon. Seriously, that helps a ton. Our Spreadshirt, or just sharing us around. That helps a bunch too. We have Twitch that I'm on Mondays usually, but other days too when I can. And I think that's about it. Joe, is there anything else we want to go with besides hashtag Big Diesel?
Hashtag Big Diesel. Big Diesel. My name's Big Diesel, and I like to play Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Diesel don't take no shit.
I would love to make a clothing line that said that. Some shirts and hats.
Yeah, it's going to be a thing pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Well, thank you, as always, for being on, my friend. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. It's always fun.
It's always good. And for everybody else listening, we appreciate it. And just let us know what you think of the show. Honestly, if you don't support us monetarily, just tell us what you think. If you're listening to this right now, just leave us a comment, tweet us. I know that can be hard sometimes when you're on your phone, but we'd love to hear back from you and hear what you guys think of it, because we appreciate you. Because there's like a small, very dedicated group who listens to this show, and I bet they're a bunch of good people. I just know it. And yeah, maybe a couple views come from me as I'm editing it, so maybe 2 or 3 of those views are me. So it just means that
that's
it's
okay.
Even more of an elite group that you're part of. So thank you, Legionnaires. Thank you to everybody who's donating not only your money but your time. And until next week,